And it is Friday, August 15th, 2025. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Thank you for joining me just for a few minutes of reflection. As it's Friday, I often am thinking about what kind of week have I had. Now, it's not over yet, but the bulk of it is, and it's a good time to reflect. But before we get to that, a couple things on the almanac. Today is a holiday. If you're not Catholic, even if you are Catholic, you may not know this, I suppose. But if you aren't Catholic, and I was not raised Catholic, although I've been to many Catholic churches, it is Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary Day. So this is what it says: Catholic churches in the United States mark the Feast of the Assumption on August 15th each year to celebrate the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary's body into heaven upon her death. Assumption Day is considered a holy day of obligation, but if it falls on a Saturday or on a Monday, it is not obligatory by the church to attend Mass. I love that. It's a day of obligation unless it's a weekend. So that is a holiday today, Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary Day. And as far as our international temperatures, today I took note of Prague, a city that we went to for the first time at the end of last year in December and had an amazing time. If you have not been to Prague, and if you've not been to Prague at Christmas time, boy, I couldn't recommend it more. It was crowded, but I don't think it has the same crowds like in the summer. But the square the Old Town Square, the famous Old Town Square that you may have seen pictures of, the Christmas market is just unbelievable. I've never seen a Christmas, and I'm not really into Christmas that much, but I have to say, even my hardened, darkened heart softened when I walked into that square and saw, the smoke from all the vendors, cooking sausages and different foods, and then the gigantic Christmas tree that was lit up and did a whole musical number with the lights flashing, and it was pretty cool. Actually, I remember the highlight from that was they had some live performers singing in Czech and a little English, mostly in Czech, but some English. And there was one performer in particular, this man, I don't know who he is. He must be famous there. I'm pretty sure he is. But he was a phenomenal singer. And though we didn't understand the Czech, we understood the music, and it was we just stood and listened for quite a while to this singer, and he was really great and funny. So good times. But in Prague, back to the weather. In Prague, they are experiencing on this Friday a high of 93 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 34 degrees Celsius. So it's pretty hot there, and then it goes down all the way down. 15 degrees lower tomorrow, Saturday, 78 degrees, then 71, 74, 78. So it looks like they've got some pretty nice weather overall after today in Prague in August. I thought it would have been hotter, actually. So who knows? That looks pretty nice. All right. So as I was saying, it is Friday, and I often reflect on what kind of week I had, and first, it starts with a feeling. Do I feel good about the week? How do I feel about the week? And I feel really good about this week. And I was thinking, why is it? I mean, nothing, quote unquote, major happened as far as, some new client came in or, some big event or anything. But what I was reflecting on was that the quality of my interactions this week has been really, really good. And it's a combination of, who I've been meeting with, what we've been discussing, how I've been able to be of service and also receive, information and help from other people. So there's been a good kind of mutual flow. These are all the things that kind of, I think, feed into whether I feel like it was a good, balanced, healthy, week or meal, right, in the metaphor. So today I'll be going to another networking event this evening in Manhattan regarding speakers, people who do speaking as for a profession, and I'm moving in that direction as well. And so it'll be good to affiliate and socialize and get to know some people who are already doing what I want to do. And let's face it, the easiest way to accomplish something is to find someone who's already done it and let them help you figure it out. let them teach you, or ask them to teach you. So, and that leads me to sort of some research that I think is helpful as you think about, okay, what can I spend this weekend doing that would be meaningful? And there's some research that I was just reading from a study. It's actually a new study that's citing other research from the last couple of decades. And there was a piece of it that I thought was particularly interesting and apropos for this topic. And apparently there have been some studies that showed that, for example, in the biotechnology industry, that organizations that are embedded within research and development networks, so a company that's within a network of research and development, they not only generated more scientific papers and had more citations per paper, so their research was better, but those organizations that had those R&D departments that were embedded sold more stuff. I thought that's really interesting. Then there's another example of pizza chains within a franchise, and the pizza shops that were within the same network that had a grouping of pizza stores that were communicating and collaborating within their franchise network, that those shops had basically more success in terms of training. They had shorter training times for workers and performed better than stores that were sort of independent, just the one store. It's got the franchise name, but it doesn't really collaborate. And I thought, wow, there's some more examples of different types of companies as well, where the more that you are connected with other organizations, if information is flowing through that connection and you're learning along the way, you're going to perform better. I thought, well, that's why I had a great week, because of my interconnections. Now, the intra-connection, the connection within myself, is really important to making that happen. But I'm focusing on the interconnections. And I think this is a great reminder that, continuing to nurture the garden of connections and also introduce new connections is really important to thriving. And for me, it's helped me to see opportunities that I never would have seen because someone has done something in a different way that I didn't even know about. For example, I've had conversations with people recently about kind of a big project. Now, I couldn't figure out, from what I know and my experiences, there's a lot I don't know about how to get that funded. And I've met people who say, oh yeah, I know all the people to do that. And I'm like, really? And tell me more. So it's like I can develop assumptions based on my experience, but I have such a small view. Even if I've read a million books and have done a bunch of different things, there's still more to learn. It's an infinite amount. And when I associate with the right people and I cultivate that, then opportunities arise. New ways of doing things arise. And I guess the other piece to this that I'm thinking about is the role that our current media landscape has in this, and the opportunities and the dangers, right? If you think about AI, you think about YouTube, you think about all the media that we have access to. Those are all great sources. For a long time, as when YouTube was coming up, a lot of people, including myself, would say, oh, I'll watch a YouTube video on that. How do I fix the sync? And you know what? There are amazing people on YouTube that know how to do stuff, and you can go and watch a video and get it done. Nothing wrong with that. But the danger is that there's also a lot of junk. And we have to spend a lot of time figuring out whether or not the advice we're being given is junk. I mean, try and go figure out how to fix a stain and go to YouTube, how to take out a stain from a blueberry. You could probably find a video on that. you're going to find some solutions that just don't work. Even in a pretty slickly packaged video that's been made by someone who sounds very convincing, and they show you how they put rhinoceros horn on this stain and it comes out miraculously. Well, you find the rhinoceros horn and it doesn't take the stain out. The quality of information is bad. And there's a lot of it, and there's more and more of it. So what I'm finding is that finding the right people and meeting them, and if you can, meet them in person, it helps with who to trust. So I'm balancing. So it isn't that, media, social media is inherently bad. But what I've found to be bad about it is what it stops me from doing, not what it does to me if I consume too much. It's the opportunity cost of social media. That every minute that I'm spending on a feed, I'm not spending either meditating or doing something creative myself. I'm consuming, and I'm not spending that connecting with someone else who might have a completely amazing story that I couldn't even imagine, that helps spark an idea or helps me see how I can get something accomplished. And I suspect that's why these companies that are more interconnected with other organizations and sharing information sell more stuff and produce better research. I don't know about you, but I want to sell more stuff and produce better research, right? Whatever that extends to, whatever version of that looks like for you. Doesn't have to be research, of course, right? So this weekend, I'm going to lean into, I always go to the gym, and I always meet up with different people and have fun on weekends. And also, I often do a little bit of writing on the weekend as well, writing and reading, which helps me internally be more present with what really matters to me. And it also feeds creativity, but it helps me stay connected with what really matters to me, so that when I am talking with people and I'm trying to filter out who should I spend time with, I'm more successful at it when I'm more in tune and more present within myself. So these are all interconnected things. But the point is if you're feeling stuck in any way, even if you're not, it's such a great idea to be socializing in ways that work for you. And it's a great insurance policy when the shit hits the fan. All right. And when it's not, it's just cherry on top. So I hope that's helpful as you go into the weekend. It's been fun reconnecting on this podcast. And I have to say, every morning I get up and I'm excited to say, okay, what am I really thinking about today? And sharing that for those that want to listen. And for those that don't, that's okay too. It's worth doing. And so we do it. For now, have a great weekend. Be good to yourself, be good to others, and enjoy your life. We'll see you next time.